Good day, sir. Good day, classmates. This is the report of Group 1. The history of special and inclusive education. Special education has made tremendous strides over the past several decades, and now inclusive is on the rise for the benefit of all involved. This inclusion is significant when considering only 45 years ago, the majority of students with disabilities were excluded from public education. In fact, most states used institutions that kept children with disabilities out of mainstream society. The popular assumption seemed to be such students were unable to learn, had little to no capabilities, and in a society in which worth is often based on production, had little value to add. Society began to shift. However, in 1975, with the Education for All Handicapped Children Act, the act acknowledged the need for students with exceptionalities to receive a quality education in a least restrictive age environment possible. This meant the students were being seen by the government as full citizens of the United States, which quickly turned into a higher quality of life for children with exceptionalities and their families. Historical milestone of special education in the Philippines. In 1902, the interest to educate Filipino children with disabilities was expressed through Mr. Fred Atkinson, the General Superintendent of Education. In 1907, special education was formally started in the country by establishing the Insular School for the Deaf and Blind in Manila. In 1927, the government established the Wilferville Children's Village, a school for people with mental retardation in Mandaluyong. In 1945, the National Orthopedic Hospital School for the Crippled Children and Youth is established. In 1949, Quezon City Science High School was inaugurated for gifted students. In 1950, PAD or PAD opened a school for the children with hearing impairment. In 1953, the LC Gatches Village was established in Alabang to take care of the abandoned and orphaned children and youth with physical and mental handicaps. In 1956, special classes for the deaf in regular class were implemented. In 1957, the Bureau of Public Schools of the Department of Education and Culture created the Special Education section of the Special Subject and Service Education. In 1960, some private college and universities started to offer special education courses on graduate school curriculum. In 1963, with the approval of RA number 3562, the training of DEC teacher scholars for blind children started at the Philippine Normal University. In 1965 marked the start of training programs for school administrators on the supervision of special classes held at UP. In 1969, classes for socially maladjusted children were organized at the Manila Youth Reception Center. In 1970, training of teacher for children with behavior problem started at the University of the Philippines. In the year of 1973, the Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court of Manila established the Tahanan Special School for the Social Maladjusted Children and Youth.
In 1975, the revision of Manila City Schools implemented the Salahis concept of special education and in public elementary schools. In 1979, the Bureau of Elementary Education Special Education Unit conducted a two-year nationwide survey of unidentified exceptional children who were in school. In 1980, the Schools of the Crippled Children at the Southern Island Hospital in Cebu was organized. In 1990, the Philippine Institute for the Deaf, an oral school for children with hearing impairment, was established. In 1992, the summer training for teachers of the visual impaired started at the Philippine Normal University. In 1993, the Department of Education, Culture and Sports, or DEX, issued Order Number 14 that direct regional officers to organize the Regional Special Education Council, or RECS. In 1995, the summer training for teachers of the hearing impaired was held at the Philippine National University. In 1998, the DEX ordered number 5 reclassification of regular teachers and principal items to SPED teachers and special schools principal item. In 1999, the DEX ordered number 33 implementation of Administrative Order number 101 direct to Department of Public Works and Highways, the DEX and the CHED to provide the architectural facilities or structural features for disabled persons in all state college, universities, and other buildings. In 2000, Department of Education, Culture and Sports number 11 series of 2000 recognized special education or SPED centers in the Philippines. In 2002, an ongoing mobile teacher training program with the Department of Education and the University of the Philippines trains regular and special education teachers on how to educate children with special needs. In 2007, Special Education Act of 2000 identified identifies 10 groups of children with special needs. In 2009, DepEd under its wing had 217 SPED centers that caters to the needs of children with special abilities. The department issued Braille textbook to help especially visual impaired children. In 2010, Special Education Act of 2010, an act establishing at least one special education center for each school division and at least three special education centers in big school division for children with special needs, guidelines for government financial assistance, and other incentives and support. In 2012, DepEd has increased the funding for special education program and it's set to open new centers. In 2013, DepEd organized a national conference for SPED teachers to sharpen their skills. Inclusive education has become an international concept implemented in various formal schooling systems in nations in the southern and northern hemisphere. As appropriation of inclusive education appear across the globe to do multiple meanings, in particular, cultural, historical constitution of disabilities, guide context-specific implementation and policy formation of inclusive education in different countries. Disabilities are seen solely as intra-individual traits leads to lower expectation, thus constraining opportunities to learn. However, However, when caregivers, educators, family members, and other providers can understand disabilities as an intersection of social, cultural, historical, environmental, and inter-individual abilities, are more equitable forms of education emerge for all students.